The question is, the nation is experiencing a great divide over a number of issues, and Erie appears to be no different. What can the town, as a board member or as mayor, do to mitigate this divide we experience here in Erie? Dan, you get to start us.
Oh, thank you. It comes down for me to leading by example and speaking respectfully to people, listening to people, making them understand that they've been heard. I've also knocked on several hundred doors here in Erie and talked to dozens or scores of Erie residents, and I don't think the divide is that strong. It's very strong on social media. I get that. There are a handful of people that push that divide. I think we need to continue to reach out with our community events and encourage interaction. Everybody gets along at the town fair, at the Erie Farmers Market, and it's just a matter of respect and listening to each other. Thank you.
Yeah, Erie's in a unique situation with the county line right down the middle. It's almost like Texas being right next to California right here in Erie. I think we have a good opportunity, though, to prove that we can get through that. And I agree with the sentiment, being out and about. We're all on the same team here. We should focus on Erie and be Erie. We have the Erie Tigers High School. We have the parades down in Old Town. I know moving to Erie, I thought that was the coolest thing, just being able to go down there, walk up and down the street, see the parades, see the high school. And let's just keep the focus on things that matter here to us. Maybe ignore some of the influences from the surrounding cities that might have their own desires for Erie, but we can be the example if we just abide by the principles of respect and families first and individual liberties, and just be good neighbors, and we can be the example that we can come together.
So I think this is a really important question. I think a lot of times this division comes from the national level and it trickles down, and it's very easy for us to get caught up in that. I think a lot of the issues that face Erie today actually are nowhere based in partisan politics. We just have to do what's best for the town, period. It's not an us versus them or any of that. We just have to move beyond. When I look out and see all of you today, I don't see any specific groups. I just see neighbors. We are all in this together. We all have to work together. And sometimes it gets nasty on Facebook, but a lot of that stuff goes away. Like even Dan said, the community fair, farmers market, you don't see people coming out swinging at those events. When we're all together, we all manage to get along pretty well. So I think we need more of those types of interactions, less Facebook, less next door, and we'll all move forward fine. Again, thank you for coming out here, because I think that shows that we're all in it together.
Hi, thanks. Back in 2001, I was a Fulbright scholar out in Eastern Europe, and I was right on the line of World War II, like between Latvia and Russia, where people just had obviously some conflicts of opinion on policy. But the research that I was doing there was ethnographic, and I was looking at how people built common ground in a place that was so divided. And I found that so much communication and so much that was happening just on the level of the population, it brought people together. And that communication is key. I mean, that's the most important thing, that we need to be, as a board, communicating with the volunteers and the staff and everybody else, with the residents, and having open lines of communication. But I also found that policy was intentionally driving division, and that it can be very polarizing. And so we have to be careful about the policies that we use so that we don't increase the division.
Erie is a beautiful community that I've enjoyed being a part of. I enjoy being a neighbor here. I enjoy the neighbors that I have. And I find that the divide that is being touted about in this election is mostly made up. We are not a divided town. This town comes together when it counts. The Marshall Fire is a good example of that. That happened over in Boulder County, but we don't care. They are our neighbors. They're part of our Front Range community also. The senior housing development that's right next door, the Victor Smith Apartments, those were built by the Boulder County Housing Authority. That is Weld County. So the line that goes down our town is somewhat arbitrary in a sense that it divides the geography of who we pay taxes to, but it does not divide our community. We are one Erie community. We're in this together, and we are Erie strong. Thank you.
As a proud Weld County resident of 15 years, I also think that the Great Divide is overstated. In terms of what the town can do, I'll talk first about what the town has done. We hired Alberto de los Rios as our Diversity and Equity and Inclusion Manager. We also have established a Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Advisory Board, which meets monthly to talk about these kind of issues and to create programming and training and education events within the town to put forth those ideas that we are all different. We come to Erie with a diversity of background, and that needs to be celebrated. It's a beautiful thing. Personally, what I've done last year is I wrote and put forth a proclamation for Pride Month. I also got Pride flags erected at town hall facilities for the first time ever for Pride Month. And we look forward to that kind of diversity of events and programming to continue the education and awareness of everything that makes us different and unique, but together as a community.
So Ken Van Wittenberg, I'm glad you brought up diversity because honestly, this is exactly what I see it as us as residents. We already have diversity here in terms of our thoughts, our opinions, our backgrounds. And we have two sides, two different, if you will, factions within town in terms of their thought. So really, if we're looking at this, it starts with us. It starts with us being kinder. It starts with us being more respectful of others' opinions and understanding that everybody is entitled to their own opinion, no matter what it might be. And at the end of the day, we can agree to disagree. As a board, really it's about being open, communicating, being transparent, and doing everything instead of behind closed doors, doing it up front for the light to shine in on. So as the board, what they can do in the future is have more communication, have other ways of transparency, of other ways of public engagement so that individuals can speak their mind so that we can actually have all these different lines of thoughts and viewpoints brought to light.
Thank you. Oh, Emily, more, sorry.
I agree that the idea that county line is some invisible barrier is really not true. If we looked around the room and tried to sort the room based on who are Boulder County residents and who are Weld County residents, we wouldn't be able to do that unless you know them and you know where they live. So I think it's important that we as a community remember that we are more alike than we are different. And that's a first step. And this brings us back to that foundational value of creating and facilitating a culture in Erie where people feel safe, seen, heard, and valued. If our residents feel valued and safe enough to come to the town board with concerns about things that are happening in town and we're engaging with our business owners, then we're able to build that community and make sure we're strong and together.